surges, an open book for Ray Leonard, backs up against the ropes.
This is one of the most unusual calls by a referee in the history of the sport.
The first loss, a tremendous victory. Leonard fighting off the ropes.
It happened, it happened. Uppercut by Douglas, down goes Tyson.
Hooks in, right hand shot.
Excellent, knocks out by Tyson.
Slumps to the canvas.
The champion struggles to stay on his feet.
How do you like it? How do you like it?
Hello, I'm Jim Lampley. Welcome to this look back at the stories behind De La Hoya Trinidad, one of the most memorable fights in 30 years of boxing on HBO. By the time Puerto Rico's unbeaten Felix Trinidad faced off with unbeaten Mexican-American Oscar De La Hoya in 1999, the competitive dominance of Hispanic fighters in many weight classes had eclipsed all other ethnic groups. After years of escalating passions, expectations for what was billed as the fight of the millennium could scarcely have been any higher.
Any story like this needs a start. It needs an amulet. It needs something where people look at right away and see something special. And for Oscar De La Hoya, it was winning an Olympic gold medal with his mother having recently passed away and him having promised his mother on her deathbed that he was going to win a gold medal.
When I took the gold medal, it was the most exciting moment. At the same time, it was the saddest moment of my life. I was on top of the podium listening to the national anthem, holding the gold medal, flowers, thinking about my mom.
Reflected off that gold medal was the Latino version of another golden boy, Sugar Ray Leonard. From East LA, De La Hoya had movie star looks, a high wattage smile, and serious talent as a fighter.
In Hollywood, an actor or an actress who can open a movie big is bankable. He's a matinee idol. I mean, he looks like Rudolph Valentino in The Sheik.
Oscar is someone who 16-year-old girls need to see. What other fighter do you see 16, 17, 18-year-old girls going to the fight, paying $50 to go see him fight? Nobody.
They get your autograph, they faint, they cry. That's what it's all about to me. I love that. I enjoy it. I'm bringing something new to the sport, some excitement to the sport.
De La Hoya created excitement inside the ring as well, where he was soon recognized as one of boxing's top fighters, winning title belts at 130 and 135 pounds. But transcending the sport, coming across as a package teenage idol, turned off many hardcore Mexican fans in his own neighborhood. They felt they were the ones being transcended.
I hate to say this because, you know, I'm a Mexican-American, just like Oscar, but for the hardcore boxing fans, they think he's crossed over. They think that he cares more about his looks than trying to be the best fighter of all time.
The Mexican people, they pay the money just to see an action, a brutal fight, like the old time, like in Rome, when the tigers eat the people. So Oscar never accomplished that.
De La Hoya attempted to change this perception when he faced beloved Mexican warrior Julio Cesar Chavez. Beating and humiliating an aging legend was satisfying to De La Hoya, but he couldn't make Chavez's fans love him.
That's the meanest looking Oscar De La Hoya you've ever seen.
You're gonna embarrass this old, now a really old fighter, again, who's still revered in the country where you want to be revered, and you're just gonna make a fool of him, really. He sort of threw coal on the fire with the Mexican fans.
Felix Trinidad had none of the cultural dilemmas associated with an immigrant group, quickly becoming the favorite son on the island of Puerto Rico, following in the footsteps of Roberto Clemente.
I tell Tito every time that we get together, I said that I was very proud of him. I said, you were carrying a torch that actually my father carried at one time.
He's rightfully proud of his heritage, of his roots, of his achievements as a Puerto Rican, and he stands for the values and principles of the Puerto Rican people.
I love you, Puerto Rico. Mañana espero en el puesto. Yo la vi bailando, yo la vi.
He has not learned English, was actually seen as something very good among a lot of Puerto Ricans, because, you know, he's not really like selling out. He really wants to stay one of us, a humble guy who's a fighter, fighting for us, which was contrary to what some people thought that Oscar De La Hoya was. That it seemed like Oscar De La Hoya was really fighting for himself.
Not only is Felix Puerto Rico born, but Felix is more in the style of the warrior. He is the fighter that comes out and wants to finish a fight, if possible, with one punch.
Trinidad's success was built on lessons taught by his trainer, manager, and father, Felix Trinidad Sr.
Everything I learned since I was a kid, I learned from my father. He always said that I was better than he was. And another thing I learned that was instilled from him was to have courage, to have guts, to never fear anyone.
The father and son combination would win their first professional title in 1993, when a 20-year-old Felix Trinidad defeated welterweight champion Maurice Blocker.
My dreams as a father and as a trainer were that he become a champ as an amateur, which he did. And when he turned pro, I wanted him to do it again. I wanted him to become a champion, and we did it.
My father is a person who neither tries to control my life nor me. Whenever he said, Tito, we shouldn't do this because it's not good for us, or Tito, let's do this. Whatever my father said, I agreed with him.
Now contrast that with Oscar De La Hoya, who has a love-hate relationship with his father.
It's a relationship of boss and employee in many respects. I think the mother was the love, she was the charm, she hugged him when the father yelled at them.
For a long time, Oscar's father would never praise him. And Oscar told me one time, I would give up my gold medal and all my belts just to hear my father say he thought I was a good fighter, but he never will.
He would never tell me that I was doing good, that I was a good fighter. Found out that the reason why he didn't tell me is because if he would tell me that I was good, then it would kind of like get to my head. I'm waiting for that moment. It's making me train harder. It's pushing me to, go that extra mile.
Despite a strained relationship with his father, De La Hoya was becoming a bigger and bigger star, a rare celebrity prize fighter. But it wasn't until his battle with the unbeaten Ike Corte in 1999 that he asserted himself as a potentially great fighter.
I thought that the Corte fight was a glorious celebration of Oscar's good qualities. A tough, round-by-round struggle. Oscar knocks Corte down, Corte knocks him down. I thought the fight was basically even coming to the 12th round.
And down goes Corte on a classic De La Hoya left hook.
He didn't depend on the judges. He didn't depend on being fancy.
De La Hoya's right there. It's Leonard Hearns all over.
He went after Corte in that 12th round and won the fight, and that still to me is his finest hour.
Even in one of De La Hoya's most dramatic victories, he would still receive harsh criticism from the person closest to him.
I'll still go back to the Corte fight, where Oscar is looking horrendous. What's the most compelling figure on screen? It's Joel De La Hoya jumping out of his seat, running along press row, screaming at Oscar, willing his son to fight. It wasn't love. It wasn't do this for me. It was you better do this, or you're not my son.
Soon after defeating Corte, De La Hoya signed to unify the titles with Felix Trinidad. Suddenly, 1999 was looking like the early 1980s, when the welterweight division was at boxing's forefront.
Like Leonard versus Hearns won, a fight between two young stars in their primes. De La Hoya versus Trinidad was going to decide who was the major force in boxing below the heavyweight division.
Two undefeated fighters, same weight, same age, in their prime, didn't like one another. That had mystique written all over it.
The De La Hoya fight was not only a big fight for Trinidad, it was looked over here in Puerto Rico as one of the biggest things ever. People thought it was a do-or-die situation for Trinidad.
What was on the line for De La Hoya in this fight was the defining moment as to whether or not he could actually earn the respect that he so richly wanted. He had one man in front of him, a man that had the respect of the world, and if he could win this fight, Oscar gets over.
De La Hoya versus Trinidad grabbed the public's attention. But the historic rivalry between Puerto Rico and Mexico triggered raw nationalistic emotions.